Mr. Belford.
Good morning, sir.
Sorry I made you wait. I didn't see you there.
Oh, good.
I
How
actually
was your
I didn't.
weekend, buddy?
It was all right. I was sick. Oh, here's a mini rant for you. Not a big one. You go to Costco?
I try to avoid it, but
Yeah.
yes, sometimes I'll get sucked in.
We all know the worst time to go to Costco is like Saturday afternoon, Friday after work, right? Not that there's
Ki-
really a good time to ever go, but
But when the tire kickers are out,
exactly. Uh, so I went to Costco Saturday afternoon with my wife, do a whole load, and
is
then we
is Michelle a shopper? Does she enjoy the act of shopping?
by herself. I think she does. When she's with me, I'm a dawdler,
Okay.
so I drive her nuts because I'm I get distracted easily.
Yes.
Is the
Okay.
thing, right? I like to goof off too. One of my favorite things to do is have like private conversations with her in a very public venue where like there is a audience of two people standing in the aisle beside us who I know, well, they're going to have a story to go home and tell their kids, right? Uh, you wouldn't believe the way this man just berated his wife over chicken noodle soup at Costco today. Just like ridiculous stuff, right? So she doesn't enjoy that the same way I do. But we get around the backside, and it's like the lineup is already like up and then down the pharmacy aisle, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like you can't even see the tills from where the lines are. So I just like get into line, and she says, "Well, I got to go check out like the clothing section, find some pants for work or whatever." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll just wait here then." She's like, "No, like don't like I want to look and not be rushed." I'm like, "This line is forever long. You're good." So I stand in line, and she's like annoyed with me that I'm not going to the clothes section with her. So she makes me get out of line to go stand in the clothing section and just do the
Mistake.
same thing I was doing in the line. Like I was just leaning on my cart, scrolling my phone. What does it
Yeah.
matter if I do that beside the clothes section or efficiently moving up a few spots in line? Like I was pretty furious with her. Am I out of line here for being upset with that, or who's being unreasonable here?
You're asking someone who is incredibly biased and hates shopping more than anything on the planet and annoys his wife nonstop with his impatience and his drive to get out of every place as
Mm,
quickly as possible. So from me, no, you're 100% in the right, like
okay.
110% in the right. How dare she?
Honestly, I'd be in dereliction of duty if I didn't get a head start on the line, correct?
I would agree with that. I would
Okay,
agree with
thank
that.
you. Okay.
Listen, it's to the point where like I've actually got Taylor trained to just not take me. Like when we're on vacation and stuff, and I get sucked into shopping, I literally she will tell me because she doesn't like to feel rushed.
Uh,
And I always have this thing where I make her feel rushed, even if I'm not saying anything, Adam.
mhm.
It
She
blows me
just
away.
senses it, hey?
I
The
can just
hairs
stay
stand
there,
up on the back of her neck, and she's like, Scott's getting impatient with me.
but I can't help being impatient because I hate shopping. So I'm just standing there being like, I would rather be doing anything else. And I'm very good at keeping my mouth shut. I just stay there like you do, scrolling
Mm-hmm.
the phone, keeping my
Mm-hmm.
mouth shut. But it's the my energy. It's not good shopping energy.
Yeah. Look at us, just a couple of lucky to be married fellas, hey?
Yeah, isn't that the case though? MLB Mondays. Welcome everybody to the walk off. I'm Scott Belford. You guys all know this. You're Patreon members, joined as always by the best co-host in the biz, Adam Mack. Lots to talk about. We are going to get into the Blue Jays a little bit. We just didn't get to you know, speak our piece yesterday with Long Toss being canceled. We are going to be back up and at it on Sunday, so you can all tune in for that. Hopefully, it is our playoff preview. That is the fingers
Hey.
crossed.
Hey. Oh,
We'll get,
before we do the rundown, just remind everybody tomorrow night, Yankees, Blue Jays, watch
yes,
party on Zoom.
heck yeah,
So we do have, I think, 3 or 4 people in that $25 tier. So
Very exciting. Very
there you go.
exciting.
There you
Exactly.
go.
That what did Deb call it again?
The super fantastic I'm better than you tier. I think it was
Yeah,
something like
the
that.
intergalactic superstar tier. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the yo-yoing that has been the Texas Rangers continues, so we will get into the AL West and what is going on there. Joey Votto, has he played his final game in Cincinnati? If he has, what a way to go out. I don't know if all of you got to see the standing ovations and stuff, but we will talk some Joey Votto. Speaking of guys who are riding off into the sunset, Adam Wainwright had his final start this week.
Mhm.
And is he positioned to be the next big country star? We'll see. San Diego Padres. My God, man. I know I sent you an article from The Athletic this morning. I just wanted
Mhm.
to touch on the Padres because what a nightmare of a season for an organization that has literally done everything within their power to put a winner on the field, have spent an absorbent amount of money to do so, and may have just backed themselves into a corner where they are in some rough shape. And it's funny because we always talk about what a brilliant man Alex Anthopoulos is, and these long-term contracts, locking up these guys, the core for half of a decade. Well, we're kind of seeing AJ Preller of the Padres, who in maybe a more roundabout way has done very similar stuff, and it is looking like a nightmare right now. I mean, they've got a lot of talent on the team, and who knows what happens next year. They might just run it back and be fine, but what a horrible season 2023 has been. So we'll talk that. And the Atlanta Braves win their 100th win of the season
The funny thing
over the weekend.
with that Padres fiasco, you sent me the article.
Mm-hmm.
I opened it, I scrolled and saw how long it was. I immediately went to YouTube and I was like, let's see if John Boy covered this.
Nice. Did they?
They did, yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're like, yeah, they did.
I was like, okay, I guess I don't have to read this morning. This is great. So here we go.
Oh man. It is so funny what this baseball season has been to Blue Jays fans. Because really there has been so much panic, and now we're looking at a team that honestly, dude, they're probably going to win 91, 92 games. They're going to finish
92 games? You think we're gonna win out?
well, no, they'd need to go 5-1.
5-1.
I'm not
Ooh.
saying that that's what they're going to do, but they are 7-2 in their last 9. I mean, in true Blue Jays fashion, they'll probably do something like go 2-4 and scare the shit out of us.
Well,
And
no,
just
what we'll do is we'll get swept by the Yankees and then we'll
right.
sweep the Rays.
21 runs the Blue Jays scored over this weekend in 3 games
At the
against
drop where we
at the Trop
historically struggle. That's pretty
against
good.
but against a top pitching staff in baseball. Vlad, Bo, Varsho, Kiermaier, Springer. My God.
He had
Yesterday's
himself a game.
game.
September Springer. Hey, we've been
Yes.
waiting for it for 3 years.
Waiting
And
for it. And if
this
it has
is
arrived, it's only good news. Kevin Biggio continues to be just a spark plug out there for the team, both defensively and on the offensive side of the bat. I mean, if you look at playoff odds right now, according to Fangraph in the American League, the Blue Jays sit at a 98.3% playoff chance. That's
we
the
have the
highest
inside
all
track for
season. They
sure.
have the inside track. The Rangers sit at 97%, the Astros at 60, and the Mariners at 44%. And as this season unwinds, after all of the talk and all of the panic about the way this team plays the American League East, at the end of it all, dude, really, this team just plays Baltimore badly.
Yep.
Like, they're finishing the season series with Boston. They're done. It was a 6-7 series. Not ideal, but also not horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, they sit with New York 5-5, with Tampa Bay 5-5. Again, nothing to write home about, but this is a really, really tough division. I mean, my God, take a look at the standings. I mean, Boston's the only team that's under 500, and that has just happened recently because Boston's kind of waved the white flag a little bit. They're dealing with some injuries. They've got some kids they've brought up. Boston knows they're out, right? So, like, as soon as Boston was eliminated, they've lost more games. But my initial reaction when they went on that AL East losing streak, I think it was May. Maybe it was early June. I don't remember when they dropped all those games to the AL East, but was that we were really outmatched, and it's all come out in the wash that they were not outmatched. Baltimore just had their number. Baltimore. I mean, they were 3-10 against Baltimore, which is just ugly.
Yep.
And I mean, there's some really good things happening here for a season also, like, just to kind of put a bow on things as the season does come to an end down to the final 6 games. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has just taken some major heat over the season. And it was interesting to see Hazel May come out early last week and kind of mention that Vladdy's mom has been dealing with some chronic health issues this year. And it's why he's been wearing the pink armband all season long. And it's funny because I always saw him in the pink armband and never occurred to me that something could be attached to that, like that there's something going on in his life. And of course, it's a good reminder that, ball players have families and shit go down too, and that it's not just baseball 100% of the time. So since Hazel has kind of brought that up, it's almost like a weight's been lifted off Vladdy's shoulder. It almost makes me wonder if, like, maybe he should have just let us all know sooner. Not that it's any of our business, but just for him to play a little bit more free and easy. Like, listen, this is Chris Black, all right? So Chris Black laid it all out. Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s age or younger, so 24 or younger. And this is in Jay's history, to have 25 plus home runs and 90 plus RBI. It's Carlos Delgado in 1996. It's Vernon Wells in 2003, Bo Bichette in 2021, and Vladdy in 2021, 2022, and 2023. Listen, I know he is disappointed, but honestly, for a 24-year-old, he's been great.
Yeah.
Most RBIs through age 24 season last 30 years. This is all of baseball. Alex Rodriguez.
He's pretty good.
Miguel Cabrera.
Pretty good.
Albert Pujols.
Pretty good.
Mike Trout, Juan Soto, Andrew Jones, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, and then right there, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So A-Rod had 595, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. 404. So a pretty big drop off there. But also, we just listed a bunch of Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. So Vladdy just being in a list with those other 8 guys is pretty impressive.
There you go. Vladdy, 2 bombs last night. The swing is looking good. It's not
Dead center
2022
pull,
September Bo, but it is. Hey, if we can get last week after we swept the Red Sox, I wasn't willing to get back on the bandwagon yet. I think for the best interest of the whole fan base, I publicly have to stay off the bandwagon. I don't want to jinx this. We trip across the finish line, but it's encouraging. I mean, look, if you are, and we'll talk Rangers in a second here, but Rangers, Astros, Mariners, or Blue Jays, at least we're showing signs of getting hot at the right time, right? Like the Astros are 3-7 in their last 10. They just lost a pair to the Royals.
Dude, if you just look at the World Series odds according to Fangraphs, I'm just going to
read it off. Are the Astros still the favorite?
No. So
I feel like it's Braves and then Astros. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to read it off and just see if you can pinpoint the kind of the commonality here. So the Braves are ranked at a 24% chance, 1 out of 4 chance to win the World Series. Los Angeles Dodgers are at 14% to win the World Series. The Philadelphia Phillies at 9%. The Rangers and the Astros at 8%. The Orioles, Blue Jays, Rays, Brewers all at 6%. Do you see the common thread?
Common thread is having won before makes you more likely to win this year.
I mean, that is something. Absolutely. To me, it was more just the American League's wide open. Like there were no
Oh,
teams
yeah.
mentioned until, like really, uh, 8 to 6% for the Rangers, the Astros, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Rays. This is according to Fangraphs.
Yeah, that's a good sign. I mean, you're right. It is easier to say the Braves are going to win because it's easier to say they're probably going to be there
Mm-hmm.
because it is probably a two-dog race between them and the Dodgers. Whereas,
Especially with the Dodgers and the Braves securing those top two spots in the National League. I mean, we saw some major upsets last year in the wild card with the 100+ win New York Mets being eliminated in that 3-game series, the San Diego Padres then dropping their series later on to the Phillies. Like, man, the best teams got eliminated early on,
mhm.
and it's going to be a lot tougher to do that with both the Dodgers and the Braves having a bye, and then there being such a gap between the winning records of the other playoff teams, bound teams. So
Yeah, wide open, just get in, I suppose, as much as we all
I mean,
hate hearing that. But
outside of the Jays needing to play the Orioles, there isn't really a team that scares the crap out of me. Like I'm not.
Rangers, Twins, Rays, Houston, Mariners.
It's not going to be easy, by the way. That's not when I say what I just said. That wasn't what I was trying to get across. I just mean this team has beat all the teams in baseball this year. They've
Yeah,
beat
except
teams
Baltimore.
that maybe they shouldn't have. But Baltimore, yeah,
Maybe the
Baltimore.
clock can strike midnight on those little pumpkin patch bastards, and I don't know. Um, I mean, they're youthful, right? Sometimes that's how you get to 100 wins is being young and inexperienced and not knowing better. And then
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that means when the playoffs come around, you're going, I wish we had George Springer and some veteran presence to help us. Oh, look, we know what happened with the Blue Jays, our first time in the playoffs, right? Youthful. Maybe everybody's
Mm-hmm.
gripping the bat too tight, nervous, butterflies in the tummy. Maybe that's what we get out of the Baltimore Orioles. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic. Like the team is starting to roll. Guys are getting hot that we need to get hot. I mean, even Dalton Varsho, who
Mm-hmm.
defensively elite, offensively pipsqueak, hitting 300 in the last 10 games. Um,
I mean, let's be serious, man. Putting up 21 runs against the Tampa Bay Rays in 3 games after, yeah, we swept the Red Sox, but oh man, just by the skin of their teeth,
mhm.
and there was not a lot of scoring there. They started to come alive a little bit offensively in New York until they hit the meat grinder that is Garrett Cole, sure to be the Cy Young winner this year.
Mhm.
But to go into the Trop, a place where historically the Blue Jays have struggled, historically has been the boogeyman to this organization, and put up those kind of numbers. I mean, really, they should have swept this series. They came back on that Saturday game, and yeah, they wound up blowing it in the ninth inning. Jordan Romano probably shouldn't have been put back out there, suffering from a split finger. You go with your horses. Sometimes
I
it doesn't
did
work out.
I did feel like going into that series, taking one out of two would have been a win,
Sufficient.
right? So to take two out of three, really good. Also, notably, after going down in that Kikuchi start yesterday, early,
Mm-hmm.
did you feel like the game was already over by the second inning? Because I did.
I was worried, but honestly, I did have a little bit more hope just because
Yeah.
they did go down in game 1 and came back. They did go down in game 2 and came back, even
But
though
that
they did blow it again.
I guess that's what I mean though, is like if we're really being toxically positive, even though we didn't get the sweep, just like even that this is over the last week and a bit. I mean, I definitely didn't feel that way against Texas when we were down
No.
early. Felt like, okay, game over, like change the channel time, basically. And it just does start to feel like, okay, this team is going to
Yeah,
dig deep a little bit. Maybe we come up short like we did in game 2 of that Rays series, but we're going to make a go of it. And
they
that's what
showed
you need
they,
come October. So,
they showed guts,
yep.
and it's something we haven't seen all year long. So there is a little bit of positivity there that they did pull this series out. Listen, Tampa's hurting, right? Yandy Diaz pulled from the game. He's got quad tightness. Randy Arozarena is missing time. And according to the Rays, he's day to day, but we don't know exactly. Brandon Lau is out for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Their pitching has been devastated by injuries this season. Shane McClanahan not with the team, right? He's going to miss the rest of the year. They're kind of relying on Tyler Glass now to really be the guy. And the fact that Jays got to him, like that really shows it's more so about the Jays' confidence in themselves against Tampa Bay, because if they do need to face them in the playoffs, which it's lining up like, that's probably going to be this wild card opponent is going to be the Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa at the Trop. So to go in there and take 2 of 3 and to build a little bit of confidence in yourself, prove to yourself, yeah, we can hit Tyler Glass now. We can tough it out. We can be no hit for 4 innings and stay in the game and then strike. I don't know, man. I mean, I would still rather play the Twins, but you're probably going to have to face the Rays sometime.
6-game homestand to end the season. That works in our favor. Those should be fun games. If you're in the Toronto area and you're not buying tickets to those 6 games, what are you doing?
I know our member of the grounds crew and Patreon supporter Mish Beer
she's there. Oh yeah.
She has quarter season tickets, and so she actually, like in August, I think it was, she was saying massage the schedule and took away she was always going to games with another person and like eliminated bringing friends and just stretched out those tickets for the final 6 games.
Amazing.
And now what a win. What a win for you, Mish. Brilliant. All right, let's get into this AL West, because there's so many implications going on here for the Blue Jays. The Texas Rangers, I mean, they might be the only team that's fan base has been yo-yoed around more than the Toronto Blue Jays, has been the Texas Rangers. They just came off getting swept by the Cleveland Guardians after sweeping the Blue Jays. So literally they sweep the Blue Jays, then give back all of the games they gained to go into Seattle, host Seattle, and sweep them.
Yeah.
Houston and Seattle now plays a 3-game set starting tonight. And it is massive. Texas finishes the season in Seattle with a 3-game set, and Houston against the Diamondbacks.
Sorry, that Texas Mariners series, that's a 4-game set.
That's a 4-game set. Okay, perfect. Right, they've got 7 games left, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seattle's remaining schedule: Houston for 3, Rangers for 4. That's why the Blue Jays have such a high percentage probability of making the playoffs. I know everybody wants to point to, we don't have the tiebreaker on anybody, but like Seattle there's just so much self-cannibalization in those games that like no matter who wins, somebody's losing. So one of those teams is going to force themselves into being the odd man out just based on how those Mariners series plays out.
Honestly, Adam, it feels like the baseball gods are smiling upon us a little bit, because every game that could go the Jays' way has gone the Jays' way. Even the Seattle and Texas series that just happened over the weekend, really the best thing that could have happened is one of those teams to sweep the other, and that's exactly how it has gone down. Now, I know the Blue Jays don't have the tiebreaker against Seattle. They do have the tiebreaker against Houston, however. And so the Blue Jays could actually clinch a spot by Thursday night, and here's how they do it. So they would need to win. The Blue Jays absolutely, for this scenario to go down, need to win Tuesday and Wednesday. They got to take care of their own business.
Okay.
Against the New York Yankees. Okay, so that's absolutely got to happen. Then Houston loses 2 of 3 versus Seattle, or Seattle loses all 3 to Houston. Now, the reason that if Houston only loses 2, the Jays get in is that basically makes it a wash. Houston could win out, and the Jays lose out. They would finish tied. The Jays
plus the tiebreaker
season series. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if we'll be celebrating on Wednesday. I get the feeling that this season has a little bit more in store for us than just an easy 1, 2, 3 here. But the fact that they're at the end of the race.
Because I know you're super busy stand-up comedian, this is the time of year that venues and comedies ramping back up as people are back in school and they're not at the lake house and on holidays. Okay. Are you the only person in Canada who's glad that playoff baseball is a fucking afternoon event? Because
I might be.
I remember the Batista Donaldson days when I was still working full time as a plumber. And luckily enough, my employer was also a Blue Jays fan. So we were wrapping up our days at like 2 p.m.
Yeah.
But I do remember being like, this is insanity that Wednesday at 1:30 is a fucking playoff game. What is going on? But
which is hilarious because my reaction is, oh my God, 1:30 on a
Wednesday. Yeah. No, good for you, Scott. It's all coming up Belford. Heck, I feel like regardless of how this plays out, my entire childhood, all I fucking ever wanted out of being a Blue Jays fan was to fucking care about a game on September 25th. I don't think that ever happened to me. I don't think it ever happened to me.
Yep. And now we have that. And man, the amount of times that truly was my only wish.
Like, I just felt like World Series is out of reach. Like that's a lottery ticket moonshot. But just to not like be like, well, it's end of August and these games fucking mean nothing now.
Eliminated. Yeah. That's the thing.
Unless we win every single game and the Yankees lose every single game, it's over.
Yeah.
So
like the amount of times, dude, throughout the years of being a Jays fan, where September 1st hits and I'm like, okay, they're only 8 games back, you know, and then I hit Journey's Don't Stop Believing, right? And I'm like, okay, here's the math. This is what's got to happen. And it was like, yeah, you try and stay in it, but I mean, reality hits pretty quick.
You're so much more positive than I ever was. All I was ever into was like, maybe Vernon Wells can get to 50, you know, like the season's a write-off, but maybe Frank Catalanato can steal 20 bases or Reed Johnson can get hit 40 times, you know, like just watching weird stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's a good time. It's a good time. So let's not lose sight of that. As much as this team has been frustrating and disappointing at times.
I mean, honestly, dude, what would be really wild is the Jays get in, they win the wild card, they win the division series, they go to the ALCS. The entire front office comes back, the entire coaching staff comes back. Everybody is like losing their mind. Does the fan base have it in them to forgive them for this season if they go on a run? I would hope so. I don't know.
It's frustrating. Okay, to be honest, I mean, I grew up in BC. Vancouver Canucks have the worst fan base in maybe all of sports, save maybe the Yankees. But they're awful.
As a Flames fan, I couldn't agree more, my man. Could not agree more.
Never been a Vancouver Canucks fan. And it was only ever because I hated being lumped into the group of like Canucks fans who are awful, who Oh, I
as
could go on a
people.
whole. I could go on
That's
a
one thing we really got to establish here.
as
This isn't
humans,
just bad fans; they're just bad people. Canuck
bad
fans.
people.
Yeah.
No, so I don't even know where we're going with that. Um, okay, but it started to rub me the wrong way about some Blue Jays fans that I am seeing in some comment sections and
Mm-hmm.
threads online and whatever, who are almost, well, not almost, who are apparently, my interpretation is that they are actively rooting for the Jays to fail this year
Yeah.
so that we can clean house. They're like, the worst thing that could happen is for the Blue Jays to make the playoffs and like maybe win a round or two because then everyone's coming back and we won't fix anything. It's like the worst thing that could happen is that we start seeing playoff success. Like,
Yeah.
what? Why are you? Who?
Why are
Who
you the
hurt?
way you are?
Who hurt you? Yeah, like you know.
It's like
So
the Michael Scott quote there where he's like, I hate so much the things
that you choose to be.
all right, that's it for MLB Mondays. We went on to continue to talk about Joey Votto's final game. Is he a Hall of Famer? We debated that. We talked Adam Wainwright and the career that he's had in St. Louis, as he heads off to a career in country music of all places. So we dive into all that. We talk about the Atlanta Braves continuing to be great. And then we also talk the disaster, the institutional car wreck that is the San Diego Padres. So that's what we talk about for the rest of the episode here, MLB Mondays. But that was your free preview for today. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, head on over to patreon.com/the walk-off podcast. $4 a month gets you access to the Discord, also gets you MLB Mondays, which is an exclusive show. We are doing a Blue Jays watch party on Zoom for our $25 tier. So Yankees, Blue Jays tomorrow night. That is Tuesday night's game against the Yankees. We'll be watching that with our Zoom patrons. So there you go. Thank you everybody for the support, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow for the mailbag. Go Jays, go.